Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Missy Bumbles, back with another episode of Prohibited Medicine where we talk about cannabis. If you're under 18, you need to go on get. If you're over 18, you can stick around. You're my people, and let's talk about it. So this is going to be part 2 of Reefer Madness. This is going to be the politically biased opinions between, 1960s and 1980s. To really get into the political part of Reefer Madness, because I'm telling you, there's some doozies in this episode. So there was widespread adoption and acceptance of cannabis in the 60s, especially by hippies that were anti-war, and middle-class whites were accepting of it as well, and that led to more relaxed attitudes and relaxed enforcement as well. President Kennedy actually attested that using marijuana did not induce violence or lead to the use of heavier drugs. But that didn't last long, unfortunately, because President Nixon came into office just after President Kennedy, and he was very anti-drug. Yay. And in 1970, Congress passed the Controlled Substances Act. Woohoo! Where, if you are unaware, the Controlled Substances Act created the different categories and schedules of different drugs depending on their perceived public threat. And cannabis was thrown in Schedule 1, right next to LSD and heroin, where it still remains to this day in the harshest category. The most restrictive category, because these are deemed for drugs to have no medical benefit and the highest risk for abuse. While I agree on the heroin and LSD part, we can all agree that cannabis does not belong to be in the Schedule 1 drug. In 1972, just 1 year after Nixon declared his war on drugs, the commission presented some findings to Congress in a report titled Marijuana, a Signal of Misunderstanding. I'm going to read from my notes from this point just to get direct quotes of this report. It noted that most marijuana users were not dangerous at all, but rather more timid, drowsy, and passive. It concluded that cannabis did not pose any widespread danger to society, and recommended using social measures other than criminalization to discourage its use. Quick recap: 1972, 50 flipping years ago, the commission told Congress that we don't need to criminalize this, but we need to do some other things to discourage its use. 50 flipping years ago. But in response to the increasingly restrictive drug laws in the United States at that time, the commission stated, and I quote, "Unless present policy is redirected, we will perpetuate the same problems, tolerate the same social costs, and find ourselves, as we do now, no further along the road to a more rational, legal, and social approach than we were in 1914. So not surprisingly, Nixon rejected the commission's findings, swept it right off of his desk, continued to forge along with his anti-drug agenda, and in the following year, Congress created the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA. Even though we had findings saying marijuana is really not that bad, guys. Like it's not that hard of a drug like all the other ones, guys. Nope. Because we don't think it is, we're gonna let it stay where it's at, where it still continued to be for 50 fucking years. It's crazy. It's crazy. But in 1973, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, NORML, spearheaded a movement, resulting in Oregon passing the first decriminalization laws in 1973. Now, they didn't legalize it, but they decriminalized it in 1973. And then just kind of skip forward because it's the same old shit. In 1986, under the law, possession of 100 marijuana plants received the same penalty as holding 100 grams of heroin. A later amendment established the 3 strikes and you're out policy. There were roughly 400,000 inmates in the American prison system in the 80s. That's insane. By 2015, that quadrupled to a peak of almost 1.5 million inmates, giving the United States the dubious distinction as the largest jailer in the world, especially when it came to cannabis. So there it is. That's part 2 of Reefer Madness, politically biased opinions. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I have posted links down below in the description where you can follow me on Discord, Instagram, and Patreon. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Be easy. One love.